What would you do if you were given another chance at life? A chance to escape all of the problems, struggles, and harsh realities of the world you live in, to recreate yourself in an entirely new world, a virtual world. But not just any virtual world. How about Skyrim? Today I'll be spending 24 hours attached to a virtual reality headset immersed within the world of Skyrim to see if it's possible to isolate yourself from reality and recreate yourself in a digital world. Can I start a family? Can I marry the love of my life? Can I become the god of this digital universe? Or will my body just rot away as I sit in my bedroom glued to a VR headset? It is currently 10:29 p.m. April 26th. Boom, timer's on. Wish me luck, folks. I'll be stuck in this world for the next 24 hours. The first step in immersing myself is to adopt a new identity. My name is Prisoner. I just decided to take the name the game gave me because I wasn't feeling that creative, and I'm a high elf. I was born with a natural strength in the art of magic. That means throughout the next 24 hours, I'll be doing this. Oh god, oh my, holy. Since Skyrim is an RPG, a role-playing game, that means I can level up my character and progressively get stronger as the game goes on. The more experience and creatures I kill in this new world, the more powerful I became, giving me more opportunities to get gold, buy stronger gear, and hopefully buy my own house. Roughly 3 hours into my VR immersion, almost 1:30 in the morning, I fell asleep looking at the stars in-game. In fact, throughout this entire experience, I often found myself looking at the sky as a source of comfort and to get a rough sense of time. At least in Skyrim. Keep in mind that while I would spend 24 hours in virtual reality, I would be spending 20 days in Skyrim. Time was supposed to be moving faster, but my body and my muscles felt otherwise throughout the entire time I was there. After waking up, my main objective throughout the majority of my time in VR was to start a new life in this world, and that meant first to find myself a wife, amass enough gold to buy a house, and adopt 2 orphan children. But oddly enough, this world was just like the real one. You had to provide value in some form to make gold and to be able to afford the things you wanted and to live a comfortable life. I, for the most part, relied upon my magic skills and unique ability to kill dragons to make the majority of my money. Basically, I did mercenary work and eliminated people for cold hard coinage. Probably one of the coolest things in the game was using my dragonborn abilities to shout at people and dash across the game. And I can't forget how cool it felt to absorb a dragon's soul in VR. Sure it sucked up its soul. Despite my seemingly godlike powers within the game, this world too was wreaked with tragedies and sadness. Roughly 12 hours in VR, me and my potential wife Lydia, my servant, were on a quest to get sap from a magical tree. I turned my back for just 1 second, and Lydia was taken from me by a magical wood creature who burned her to a crisp out of nowhere. Are you kidding me? The Spriggan killed another one of my wives, and my second wife has been taken from me once again. Teary-eyed after I watched my potential wife burn to ashes, I sought vengeance and killed the creature in honor of her name. At this point, it seemed like the possibility of achieving my dreams in this world were, in many ways, almost more difficult than achieving them in the real one. Despite losing Lydia to the dangers of this new virtual world, I was still determined to achieve my other goal, which was to buy a house. In pursuit of more gold coin to buy this house, I ended up aimlessly wandering all over the land of Skyrim, killing exotic creatures and completing various side quests. At this point, I felt the incessant pressure of the VR headset against my face, and fatigue had set in. I was physically and mentally extremely tired of playing this game, but alas, I continued to push myself, knowing that achieving things, even in Skyrim, isn't an easy task, unless you become a criminal. Even though I had died in-game several times, I still felt like a godlike entity that could not be harmed in any meaningful way. Even if I died in the game, I knew that I would just come back to life and I would have another attempt at whatever it was I was trying to do in the first place. So, in the name of making more gold coin, I began to roam the countryside, eliminating innocent NPCs, robbing them of their gold, and stealing their valuable items. While I became a blatant criminal, no one in the capital was aware of my crimes, and I remained a respected thane in the city of Whiterun. Eventually, after committing enough crimes and stealing from enough people, I'd amassed enough gold and sold enough rare items to the merchants to be able to afford my own house. 5,000 gold it cost me.
Here's the key.
Let's go! It was one of my happiest moments in game, and I felt for the first time in virtual reality a true sense of accomplishment. And here's a brief house tour. It wasn't anything special, but it was mine. Alright guys, welcome to my crib. This is my house right here. I'm not sure if I can adopt children or anything now, but I'm sure gonna try. This feeling though would last rather shortly. While I was exploring the Jarl of Whiterun's castle, the somewhat sensitive PS Move VR controllers interpreted my slight arm movement as a punch, leading me to accidentally punch a little Nord girl straight in the face.
Good, sweet. Help me, help! Get away!
Alas, my life of crime and aggression in-game had finally caught up to me. After accidentally punching the little girl and then fighting and killing guards in and around the city in my own self-defense, the entire city of Whiterun was after me, and I was forced to flee the city where I'd purchased my beautiful home for 5,000 gold. I had at first felt the consequences of my actions in-game as I became a social outcast, a pariah who had been banished from every major city in the game and had no one to call a friend. While I felt physically isolated as I was trapped within the confines of a VR headset, I was mentally trapped at the same time within the rules and regulations of the game I was playing. At this point, I was almost 20 hours in virtual reality. When I needed to go to the restroom, I had a large McDonald's cup that I would have to go in. I kid you not, folks. Almost filled an entire McDonald's cup with urine. And the only food that I ate the entire time I was in VR was a bag of chicken nuggets from Carl's Jr. that my dad had dropped off beside me. Surprisingly enough, my need to go to the restroom, eat food, and drink water was not very pressing, and I easily survived 24 hours without going number 2, only 1 glass of water and a few chicken nuggets. With only a few hours left in game, I took to exploring the world of Skyrim around me and defeating creatures that I couldn't beat earlier. No! When I first put on the headset, the giants would smash me into oblivion, literally. But eventually, I learned the best strategies to defeating opponents, like the giants, that were initially out of my reach, and my combat had clearly grown over time. After defeating seemingly impossible creatures like the giants and going for a swim in a beautiful river, I decided to spend my last hour where I felt I belonged the most, stranded in a frozen tundra, looking at the beautiful sky above me while I said my last goodbye to this virtual world that I had made my own and, of course, lost all on my own. As the final minute approached, I said goodbye to Skyrim and everyone and everything I'd interacted with during my 24-hour time there. There was no better way to say goodbye than one final Fus Roda. Alright folks, it's time. The final Fus Roda. Fus Roda! Freedom at last! Freedom at last! Look at my hair. Oh man. 24 hours in reality, 20 days in virtual reality. I had made friends, made enemies, and started an entirely new life for myself, all in what felt like the blink of an eye. And then it was all gone. Alrighty folks, what you're seeing is the version of me that just got out of virtual reality after 24 hours. My hair feels all greasy and nasty. I'm all sweaty. I'm super warm right now, and my balls are itchy. Need to go to the bathroom, take a shower, all that stuff, but that was quite the isolating experience for 24 hours. Would definitely not recommend it at all whatsoever. I'm gonna get myself cleaned up. There's my pee in a McDonald's cup. There's my Wendy's I ate, and I didn't even touch any snacks, barely drank any water. Need to get some food in my stomach, need to rehydrate, but for now I'm just gonna clean up, call it a day. That was tough. 4 hours later, just took my shower, went outside in the darkness right now. It's super dark. It is 2:30 in the morning right now. I took a nice 5-mile walk just to get my blood flowing and my muscles in action, since they kind of atrophied for 24 hours, if that's a thing. But yeah, super grateful to be out of that VR headset, and while it was an interesting experience, it's too close to my face, almost as if you were to attach your phone and just tape it to your eyeballs. It's just really uncomfortable, especially because I had glasses on as well. So I'm gonna go to sleep. We'll see if I notice any effects or lasting changes in the morning. 2 days later. Hey guys, so it has been roughly 2 days since I went into VR for 24 hours, and here are some of the kind of consequences I've noticed, or effects of being in that headset for an entire day. Basically, the day and the day after I was in VR, I went on walks in the night. So like, we're talking like 2, 3 in the morning. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, Tyler, if you get robbed, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Just blast them with a fireball or hit them with the Fusroda. And then I realized that that invincibility complex that I had sort of developed didn't obviously carry over to real life. And I remember thinking to myself that this is kind of lame, that the the real world is like a slightly higher res, less interesting version of virtual reality, or at least Skyrim's VR. And then I kind of came to the conclusion that in the future, I think given the fact that these headsets are affordable, that everyone will in the future, somewhat of a Wall-E scenario, and that everyone is glued to these headsets in their bedroom, that they're in the reality of their own dreams, because that's what I think VR is and what it will be for a lot of people in the future. Because when you consider the fact that the majority of people, let's say, live a pretty normal, boring life and don't ever leave, let's say, a 100-mile radius of wherever they live. And if you give them the opportunity to explore a vast world that allows them to do whatever they want, whenever they want, without any real restrictions, and that's the dream for most people in the real world, so who wouldn't capitalize on that if that opportunity existed elsewhere for a dramatically more affordable cost? So I really do think that virtual reality, whether it's in a headset or a contact lens or a brain implant, will have a pretty large role in our futures. That's just me speculating, and with that being said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe. Deuces.